Thursday, December 14th, 1989. The time just after midnight. In the frozen wilderness of Tromsø, Norway, the night sky seemed to come alive. A dazzling cascade of greens and purples danced across the heavens, casting an otherworldly glow over the snow-covered landscape. It was the Northern Lights at their most spectacular, a sight that left scientists and locals alike in awe. But then something strange happened. The aurora began to flicker erratically, as if responding to some invisible force. Reports poured in from nearby towns of bizarre disruptions. Radios went silent, compasses spun wildly, and some even claimed to feel an electric charge in the air. One local fisherman swore he saw shapes moving within the lights. Figures, almost human, swirling in the shimmering hues. Another reported hearing a faint hum, like a whisper carried on the icy wind. Was this a natural phenomenon? Or could the legends of spirits and celestial beings tied to the Northern Lights hold some truth? Scientists rushed to explain the strange events, but the more they investigated, the more questions arose. What could cause the lights to behave this way? And were these myths of ancient gods and spirits just folklore, or a reflection of something science has yet to uncover? Stay with us as we explore the mystery, the science, and the myths behind the Northern Lights, and uncover why this breathtaking display may be far more than it seems. The Northern Lights, a phenomenon steeped in wonder. To understand the mystery of the Northern Lights, we need to start with their setting. Known scientifically as the Aurora Borealis, this natural light display is most visible near the Arctic Circle, a region of stark beauty and harsh extremes. The auroras have captivated humanity for millennia, inspiring countless myths and stories. In the quiet town of Tromsø, Norway, often called the gateway to the Arctic, the aurora is a frequent yet no less awe-inspiring sight. On the night of December 14th, 1989, however, what unfolded in the sky was unlike anything the townspeople had ever seen. The lights were unusually vivid, their colors more intense than usual. Scientists would later attribute this to heightened solar activity, but that explanation didn't account for the peculiar phenomena that followed. Reports of electronic disruptions, dead radios, malfunctioning compasses, and inexplicable static shocks puzzled locals and experts alike. And then there were the stories. An elderly Sami shaman spoke of ancient warnings passed down through generations. The Northern Lights, they said, were more than just a celestial show. They were living entities, capable of reacting to the presence of humans. Was it merely coincidence that these disruptions happened at the height of the aurora's brilliance? Across the globe, scientists scrambled to make sense of the events. Could the Northern Lights truly have a tangible effect on the environment? Or were these disruptions caused by something else entirely? And what about the stories of shapes within the lights? Shapes that seem to move with intention. The night's events were just the latest in a long history of strange occurrences linked to the Aurora Borealis. But to understand their significance, we must first delve into the forces that create the Northern Lights and the myths that have surrounded them for centuries. What exactly is happening when the sky ignites in color? And why have humans been so captivated and wary of this phenomenon throughout history? The answers lie in a collision between science and legend, each as vivid and mysterious as the lights themselves. A dance of particles and power. The scientific explanation of the Northern Lights begins far from Earth, on the surface of the sun. Our star constantly emits a stream of charged particles, what scientists call the solar wind. Most of the time, Earth's magnetic field deflects these particles harmlessly into space, acting as a shield. But during periods of intense solar activity, that shield is tested. In December 1989, the sun unleashed one of its most powerful solar storms in decades. The surge of energy was so immense that it disrupted satellites, power grids, and radio communications across the globe. And when the solar wind reached Earth, it collided with our planet's upper atmosphere, igniting the Aurora Borealis in a display of extraordinary intensity. The colors of the aurora, greens, purples, reds, are created as oxygen and nitrogen atoms in the atmosphere absorb the energy from these collisions. The scientific community marveled at the spectacle, calling it one of the most vibrant displays ever recorded. But here's where things took a mysterious turn. The disturbances in Tromsø weren't typical of auroral activity. Radios and compasses don't usually fail during an aurora, and there was no clear explanation for why people reported feeling an electric charge in the air. Local scientists began to wonder, could the sheer power of the solar storm have caused unique electromagnetic effects? Or was there something about Tromsø's location, close to the Earth's magnetic poles, that amplified the aurora's influence? These questions remained unanswered as eyewitness accounts added another layer of intrigue. Several residents described seeing lights that didn't just shimmer, they moved as if they were alive, responding to their presence. And then there were the sounds. Faint melodic hums that seemed to emanate from the aurora itself. Were these merely tricks of the mind, heightened by the surreal nature of the display? Or was there something about this aurora that defied conventional explanation? Myths that echo through time. While scientists search for answers, others turn to ancient wisdom. For centuries, the Northern Lights have been steeped in myth and legend, each culture adding its own interpretation to the phenomenon. Among the Sami people, indigenous to the Arctic, the aurora is said to be the spirits of ancestors, dancing in the sky. They believe the lights are alive, watching over the living and responding to their actions. Whistling at the aurora, for instance, is strictly forbidden, as it's thought to summon the spirits too close. Could this belief explain the eerie sounds reported in Tromsø that night? In Norse mythology, the aurora was believed to be the reflections of Valkyrie's armor, guiding fallen warriors to Valhalla. These myths describe the lights as more than just celestial. They're described as purposeful, connected to the realm of gods and heroes. Other cultures share similar themes. The Inuit of Greenland believe the lights are spirits playing games in the sky. In China, ancient records describe the aurora as celestial dragons battling in the heavens. The common thread in these myths is the idea that the aurora is alive, not merely a natural occurrence, but a phenomenon with intent and meaning. And as the events of December 14, 1989 unfolded, even skeptics began to wonder, could there be a kernel of truth in these ancient stories? Were the disruptions and strange occurrences in Tromsø a manifestation of the power and mystery the Sami and others had long believed in? The deeper scientists and storytellers delved into the events of that night, the more blurred the line between fact and folklore became. But as the investigation continued, one question loomed larger than ever. Could science truly explain everything about the Northern Lights? Or was there more to this phenomenon than meets the eye? Unraveling the mystery. As the investigation into the events of December 14, 1989 deepened, scientists, historians, and locals attempted to connect the dots between the strange occurrences and the powerful aurora. What emerged was a fascinating blend of explanations rooted in science, folklore, and speculation. The scientific perspective. Electromagnetic disturbances during powerful auroras are not unheard of, especially during intense solar storms like the one in 1989. The storm generated massive geomagnetic activity, which likely interfered with radio signals and caused compasses to behave erratically. Scientists posited that the intense electric currents flowing through Earth's ionosphere could even create sensations akin to static electricity for those on the ground. But this didn't explain everything. The reported sounds, for example, defied conventional science. Most experts agree that auroras occur too high in the atmosphere, over 60 miles up, for their movements to produce audible sound. However, some researchers proposed a new theory, that the intense geomagnetic activity could have created low-frequency sound waves near the ground, generating the faint hums described by witnesses. The mythological connection. For the Sami people and other Arctic cultures, the events only reinforced their belief in the spiritual nature of the aurora. To them, the disruptions and mysterious shapes within the lights weren't anomalies, but signs of the aurora's sentient power. Sami elders shared stories of times when the aurora appeared as a warning, often before a great storm or significant event. Could the powerful aurora of 1989 have been a celestial message? Its flickering intensity meant to convey something beyond human comprehension? A possible convergence. The most intriguing theory came from those who believed that the science and myths might both hold truth. What if the powerful geomagnetic forces of the aurora interacted with the human mind in ways we don't yet understand? Could the lights, through electromagnetic energy, trigger vivid sensory experiences or even amplify ancient instincts that connect us to nature's forces? This theory gained traction when researchers studied how electromagnetic fields could affect human perception. In highly sensitive environments like the Arctic, where the aurora's influence is strongest, such effects could explain the feeling of being watched or the sense of an otherworldly presence. Lingering questions. Despite the theories, not everything could be explained. Who or what were the shapes within the lights? Were they optical illusions caused by the storm, or something more profound? And what of the eerie synchronicity between the scientific disruptions and the myths? The investigation left more questions than answers. Was the Northern Lights' behavior that night simply the product of extraordinary natural forces? Or was there an underlying truth to the legends of ancestors, gods, and spirits watching over the Arctic skies? As the world continued to study the aurora, one thing became clear. Even in the age of advanced science, some mysteries remain tantalizingly out of reach. But perhaps the most compelling question of all remains unanswered. Are the Northern Lights just a spectacle, or do they carry a message humanity is not yet ready to hear? The eternal mystery of the aurora. After months of investigation, the events surrounding the Aurora Borealis on December 14, 1989, remain a blend of science, speculation, and wonder. While many questions found plausible explanations, others linger, elusive as the lights themselves. What we know. From a scientific standpoint, the aurora's unusual behavior was likely driven by the extraordinary solar storm of 1989. The geomagnetic activity disrupted communication systems and may have created low-frequency sounds, offering a rational explanation for the hums and flickers reported by witnesses. But science still couldn't fully explain the figure-like shapes in the aurora or the deep sense of awe, and, for some, unease that witnesses experienced. The aurora's power lies not only in its beauty, but in its ability to make us feel connected to something far greater than ourselves. What we don't know. The myths surrounding the Northern Lights only deepen the mystery. Were the Sami elders right to see the lights as spiritual entities, capable of interacting with the world below? Could the aurora's effects on the environment and human perception be evidence of a natural phenomenon we don't yet fully understand? And what of the theories suggesting the aurora interacts with our minds? Could the charged particles and electromagnetic forces of the lights influence human perception, creating sensations and visions that blur the line between reality and imagination? A continuing mystery. The events of 1989 serve as a reminder that even in an age of advanced science, there are forces in the natural world that defy full explanation. The Aurora Borealis remains both a scientific marvel and a symbol of humanity's enduring fascination with the unknown. The Northern Lights are more than just a light show. They are a bridge between science and myth, between what we know and what we dream. Their mystery invites us to wonder, to question, and to imagine. Conclusion. Perhaps that's the true power of the aurora. Not just its ability to light up the night sky, but its ability to ignite our imagination. The lights remind us that some mysteries are meant to be experienced, not solved. As long as the Northern Lights dance across the Arctic skies, we'll continue to gaze upward in awe, captivated by their beauty and haunted by their secrets. If this story intrigued you, give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more explorations of the world's greatest wonders and mysteries. What do you believe about the Northern Lights? Let us know in the comments below.